Now, listen, we've talked a lot recently about what may or may not be the meta going into the next season of Destiny. And while I stand by all of those previous takes, due to the powers that be holding me back, I've been hiding the secret formula, the key to the fountain of youth, the source of the infinite KD. I'm talking about some real grade A, bona fide, absolute sauce to make you the best Destiny player that you can be. Now, I am not saying that by equipping the OSTEO STRIGA exotic SMG that you will suddenly become the best player in the Crucible. However, I have not seen you and the best player in the Crucible and OSTEO STRIGA all in the same room since I made this suggestion, now have I? Now, some of you fools, you non-believers, may be questioning this, but I offer Exhibit A, some proof of its magic. Alright. In all seriousness, is OSTEO STRIGA the next best weapon in the history of Destiny? Probably not. But it is really fun. And today we're going to talk about its place in the current meta, some of the fun things it does another exotic allows it to do, and some suggestions so maybe you can try a little bit of something different. Because ultimately, that's my biggest philosophy in the Crucible. Branch out, try new things, explore the depth of the Destiny sandbox. So, if you like what we do here, take a second, hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment. We are fast moving towards 10,000 subscribers. We want to hit that goal as soon as possible. So every time you click that button, that helps. The Crucible Brothers is growing strong, so join us on this journey today. And if nothing else, your views are all that matter to us, so thank you regardless. Alright, first off, let's do some of the small stuff real quick for those of you who don't know. OSTEO STRIGA is an exotic 600 RPM SMG introduced in the Witch Queen expansion. It is in a unique class of its own because it is the only primary in the history of Destiny to have full damage projectiles and complete and total tracking of those projectiles at the same time. No, Tiku's divination doesn't count. So it's already in a unique spot to begin with because it is essentially an aimbot weapon. It does the aiming for you, it'll track to enemies whether you want it to or not, which makes it kind of an unruly weapon on the surface. Obviously, Destiny is not exactly a game known for its fantastic hit registration, so quite typically the non-hit scan weapons tend to suffer from inconsistencies. Glaives. And OSTEO isn't really free from that. There are times where you want the bullets to go to a specific target, but they go somewhere else. Or the projectiles are just randomly slower. Or you don't do the bulk of your damage till you've stopped aiming at someone or have died and trade with them a second later. These weird eccentricities are built into the gun, and before you go in and use it, you just kind of have to accept them. It's a product of the game we play, and it's not really fixable. And really, those eccentricities are what hold this back from being a much more popular and I think much more viable choice. Most players are going to pick this up, take it into PvP, find it really weird that they're not in control of where their bullets go, and then immediately put it down. But once you understand the strengths of OSTEO, suddenly the playstyle opens up and you see its benefits. You see, because those weird aspects are also part of its inherent strengths. Like take the tracking for instance. If you don't have to worry about hitting your shots directly, you can put more focus into your movement. You can outstrafe and try and break the ankles of your opponents. Focus on just getting shots down range and let the gun do the rest. This also makes hipfire extremely viable on OSTEO because it's not like you need to be aiming in a precise manner. You just need to get volume of fire out there and let those hailstorm of bees kind of do the work for you. This makes for a very fast, aggressive playstyle, maybe one of the most aggressive playstyles in the entire game, which is why, for my first loadout recommendation, I think skip the necrotic grips on Warlock and go play Titan with Peacekeepers. Peacekeepers give you that super juice speed so that you can just wheel around the corners, not caring about your positioning at all, just Mach 5, pedal to the metal, just strafe out there and let the bullets fly. And because the OSTEO doesn't require that insane precision, the playstyle works very well. Suddenly you're just out-strafing everyone in sight, you're flying through the air, you're dashing around. You pair it with like a special weapon and then you dump your Osteo, switch to the special weapon, or another SMG, clean up, auto-reload the Osteo, and then let another volley fly. It's so fun, it's frenetic, it's chaotic. I actually cannot recommend this enough. I don't get super excited about a lot of things, but this playstyle, at first I was like, okay, this is just kind of nice. But then after a few games, like, dude, this is some of the most fun I've had playing Destiny in an honest minute. But even when you step back, you don't even just have to play this balls-to-the-wall hyper-aggressive playstyle. What's really cool, and I think underexplored about Osteo, is that in higher level content like, say, Trials, there might be a legitimate niche for Osteo as Destiny's first real, true suppressing weapon. As someone who comes from a Counter-Strike background and a Battlefield background before playing Destiny, the concept of suppressing fire is something that I'm very familiar with. And for those of you who don't know, in other games like Battlefield and in some cases Counter-Strike, putting out volume of fire down a hallway is actually a very important part of the playstyle because it deters people getting frisky and taking peeks. In Battlefield specifically, suppression is even its own unique mechanic, but I'm not going to get too into the weeds. If you know, you know. In Destiny, that playstyle doesn't really exist due to a multitude of factors, mainly that hand cannons are so popular, and for the most part, people aren't scared about walking into a volume of fire in this game. Most of the gunfights are reactive. You don't see like people with sweet businesses just laying into corridors hoping someone will peek into them because people just don't do that. But Osteo kind of stands alone in this regard because if you peek into the hail of fire from an Osteo user, they don't even have to snap to you. Those projectiles will just home in and cut you up. I mean, I could just kind of see it in my mind's eye. Imagine playing a game of Trials. You bring 3 OSTEO STRIGAs, and you just say, you know what, mid lane is our lane, BB. And you're just sitting there, just mag dumping, hoping the sniper gets frisky enough to peek it. Fuck, I just want to peek. Why won't they stop firing? Yeah, fuck this. Maybe it's viable, maybe it's not, but I actually think it is worth exploring, especially if you're someone who likes to experiment in something like Trials of Osiris. So if you do it, leave a comment, let me know how it goes. I might even give it a try myself. As a closer to this video, I just want to take a second and talk about kind of the philosophy over why I choose to cover certain weapons on the channel. Osteo has a lot of competition, there's no doubt, especially in terms of exotic SMGs, but especially legendary SMGs. It's by no means the first choice when you think of Crucible, SMGs, and the meta. But I do think a lot of that is due to a lack of exploration. It's very easy to fall into the trap of just using what is considered the best within the zeitgeist of the community. The community has these consensus for a reason, and these weapons do stand out and alone for said reason. Like it's undeniable the strength of a weapon like Taraba, or Shayura's Wrath, or Multi-Lock. But to me, it's very important that the state of the game isn't in a spot where the meta is rigid. We've been in that spot many times in Destiny where the meta was super strict, only a few things were allowed if you want to be viable in endgame content. And luckily we're in an era of Destiny where the sandbox is tuned in such a way that at least in terms of primaries, you for the most part can use whatever you want to a high level. Yes, will you be crept down by the strongest options? Are you going to lose duels to popular options like Aya's Luna, Dire Promise, Shayura's Wrath, etc.? Yes, but it's not like it used to be where there were a bunch of weapons that were straight up unviable. SMGs are a great example. For a long time, SMGs have been useless, and then we got a string of great SMG updates that made Taraba, Shayura, etc. actually strong and worth using. And then we went through a drought of not getting new SMGs, and especially exotic SMGs. Taraba was the last one. And I'm just glad that Witch Queen launched with an SMG that is both worth chasing for and is actually very fun within its niche in the Crucible. I think that's important. So if you haven't given Osteo a try, do me a favor, do me a solid, whip it out, pause, grind that bitch up, get it to max level, max range it, get the Catalyst, get in the Crucible, and you might just have yourself a new favorite weapon to use. Hopefully, that's what we're achieving here on this channel. I want to open up new possibilities to players that they may not have explored before. So go try OSTEO STRIGA, give it a try, and while you're doing that, don't forget to hit a like leave a comment on this video, subscribe to the channel for more. My name is Lionhearts. This has been the Crucible Brothers. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.